Hey machine knitters. Are you hoping to do a tuck stitch pattern, but you don't have a punch card, you don't have a ribber, you want something that looks like ribbing? Well, you don't need a carriage that has tuck buttons. You can create tuck stitch on any machine. Let me show you how. So to do this tuck stitch, we are going to pull out every third needle. Now, I don't know if I don't have a 1x2 pusher, but this from my standard gauge machine is a 1x2, and this actually works because it skips the right number of stitches. But you can also pull them out by hand, or you can use a needle beetle. So to get this tuck stitch effect, what happens when you tuck stitches is that the yarn is going right over top of the needle. So it doesn't actually knit, it tucks. So what we need to do is we need to put our machine in holding position. Now this can vary by machine how you do this. This is a Brother carriage, and it just has a button that you push over to H, and the H is for hold. So my needles are actually out into holding position, and those needles now are not going to knit. So here is the carriage for the Studio Singer machines, and they have rustle levers on the side that can be flipped for holding and not holding. So 2 means that it's going to knit all needles. So when you put your needles into holding position and you want to tuck, then you would put them to the single line. And you have to do that on both sides. So not all machines have levers or buttons that you can push for holding position. So if that is your case, you can still pull your needles out to hold, and it depends how your machine is set up. So I know the Bond machines, if I'm remembering correctly, it's been a while since I knit on a Bond, as long as they're in holding position, they're not going to knit. You don't have to do anything special on your carriage, but you can knit across and you'll still see that they did not knit, and they just placed the yarn over top. And then when you are ready to knit those, you just put them back into working position. So working position is usually labeled on the side of your bed. So this is how the bed is labeled. We have E is our holding position, A is out of work, and then B is usually where your needles are. You can see these needles over here they're in work. But if you want to move them from holding back to working position, this will knit these needles as well. So you can see I'm pushing them back, and the very top of those latches are just starting to catch. Now, depending on your machine, you do need to make sure that your needles are open. For my Brother, I don't need to worry about that, but I could leave my machine in holding position and knit across here, and it's still going to knit all those needles because they were pushed back into a working position. So now for this tuck stitch, we are going to tuck for 3 rows. 1, 2, 3, and then we are going to put our machine back into normal and knit across. And that's how you get this effect. So let me show you one more time. Put your machine into hold, pull out the correct needles. So we're going to knit 3 rows. Switch your carriage and knit again. If you don't put your machine into hold when you get it back over here on this side, there's a good chance you could forget. And then when it knits, it will knit all of these needles. It'll pull these right back in. But it's an easy fix. So now I forgot to put my machine into hold. And to fix that, all I need to do is pull on my yarn a bit and lift so that it comes out of all of the latches. And then I can move my machine back to the other side, and don't forget to set your row counter back 1 as well. So this is a really nice pattern for a sweater. It also looks a little bit like ribbing, so this would make a great pattern for a sweater. Speaking of sweaters, Before you start your tuck stitch sweater, you should know that tuck stitches take more yarn than just a regular stockinette stitch. So you will need about 70% more yarn to do a tuck stitch sweater than you would a stockinette stitch sweater. So keep that in mind when you're planning garments with tuck stitches. Are you ready for a tuck stitch sweater pattern? Well, here it is, and you can get that from the link in the description below. Now, my daughter's birthday is tomorrow, and so we decided that you guys should get 10% off because she is turning 10. It uses a similar tuck stitch pattern and can be done on any machine for any size. It's a nice short sleeve sweater for the weather coming up. There is also a video tutorial that goes along with it that walks you through every step of making the sweater. The link is in the description. I hope you enjoy and make sure that you give your knitting machine some love this week.